until 25 years ago when I began my intentional faith journey. During those early years, I believed that I had to earn God's favor. My image of God was a dooming figure who took inventory of all that I might be doing wrong. Love wasn't part of that image, and I was so conditioned to see the negative that I couldn't see the positive if it was looking me straight in the eye. And you know, it often was. In this stage of my journey, I think I was much like the third servant in the stories of the talents found in Matthew 25. I buried what the master gave me. I recall how much it bothered me that the master was so upset with his servant. For you see, playing it safe was my comfort level. Taking a risk wasn't even a part of my mindset. I wondered how God could be mad at someone because they didn't want to lose what the master had entrusted to them. Investments were never my strong suit. This early stage was much more about fear than faith, and how God was always disappointed with me. I desired to have more faith and trust, so I began to invest myself in spiritual studies. Through this effort, my faith grew as I faced the challenges of raising children, living in an alcoholic home, and balancing a household with working. Every challenge and victory strengthened me. But the real test came about 10 years ago when I found myself, for the first time in my life, all alone and having to make it on my own. I sought God, and I found that He was always nearby to encourage me to more than I imagined I could ever be. I believe it was He who brought me to my work in Bedford. It was He who placed certain people in my life, and He who brought me to this church. This became more clear to me just a few days ago when I had the privilege of seeing my life through the eyes of my grown daughter. She wrote of seeing these last 10 years as a time when she saw me face every fear that crossed my path. I now see that these years have been like the second servant who was given 3 talents. He invested them, and his reward from the master was praise and more talents to invest, always in concert with the Holy Spirit. These last 10 years have been filled with self-discovery and more uncovering of the true self. This church has helped that path through weekly worship services, thought-provoking sermons by our pastors, and spiritual courses offered by Elizabeth. The latest course was just last year, the Spiritual Exercises of St. Ignatius. Each of us who participated in this course grew in our understanding of self, of God, and each other. It will be offered again this year, and if you are at all sensing a desire within to be more intentional in your walk with Christ, do consider this course. Maybe some of you are being called to be involved in the music ministry, the branch suppers, or just to be an usher or a greeter. For others, it might be more committed to regular Sunday attendance or steady financial giving. There are so many ways of being involved and being on your faith journey, as there are people sitting out there. Know that God is encouraging each of us to move out of our comfort zones, to try new things, to take a risk, and to increase our trust. Seek and you will find. I invite you to earnestly seek God, as Jeremiah instructs us. Well, my dear brothers and sisters, guess what? It seems since I was faithful with these 3 talents, God has now offered me 5 talents. He is very excited to see how I'm going to use them. These 5 talents are represented in an opportunity to participate in a spiritual formation program at the Center for Action and Contemplation in Albuquerque, New Mexico this next year. During the last years, I have desired a new ministry in new surroundings where I might deepen my relationship with Christ. I felt that a new location with a different landscape would wake me in ways that being in a familiar setting cannot always do. I also heard a voice within talking to me about freeing myself of material possessions. This all began to feel like a wonderful plan, but I wasn't at all sure how this would take place. But God did. It happened through some synchronicities at 2 different Faith at Work retreats, and during some of my travels to the Southwest, this dream began to slowly unfold. And the outcome of it is this. I have given away most of my material possessions. I retire at the end of this month, pack up some of my clothes, and head out west. There, I will invest myself in daily prayers. 1 day of silence weekly will be observed, and I will be put into some service task. 6 of us will live together in community. I haven't met any of them yet, but I understand we are all different ages, male and female. Most of us are all in some form of transition. I'm very excited about this. I never would have imagined that such a wonderful opportunity would come my way, but God did. Well, this is part of an ongoing plan for my life. I'm not any different than you. My circumstances and availability might be different. I pray that you know He has a plan for you as well. Most likely, it won't be to move to the Southwest, but I do believe those plans include dramatic internal changes. If you are already seeking God, keep on. If you haven't, this is a great time to start. Now, Jeremiah is still one of my favorite passages, but I don't see it as an anchor any longer. Because to me, an anchor keeps us secure, safe from the storms of life. Now I look at this passage as a source of encouragement to move ahead, to take risk, and to do the task that God offers me. Not to worry and fret, for He knows the plans, and the future is good and full of hope. So I'm going to fasten my seatbelt and enjoy whatever blessings He has. I hope each of you will be able to do this in your lives. Spend those talents. Be bold, for the rewards are double of what you started on. Now I ask you to take a moment and ask yourself, where is God asking me to seek